Okay, today is Sunday. It is 7:52 p.m. It is April 26th. I realized more about the world. Okay, I realized more about the world, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there. A lot of things happening. What is real is what is real. What's happening is real. It happens. Okay, and it is it is left in the plain open, okay? And lots of people make money in a certain way, and it has been done a long time ago, since from the dawn of mankind to now, okay? So what happens is, so what am I getting at? What am I trying to say? Okay, what am I trying to say? Okay, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to get at? Okay, thank God. Okay, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to describe something, but it deviated a little bit. Okay, so then I thought, okay, for the past 5.5 years, nothing seemed to go right at all. Nothing. Okay. And uh, now now I'm reduced down to, which I have been reduced down to for quite a ways. So I went to Costco at 6:15, but it was closed at 6 today. So I put 3 gallons of fuel in, and I walked towards it. I saw the door entry was closed, so I just walked out of the parking lot. So I have to go back there. I was just gonna pick up 2 hot dogs for $3. So then, today is a turning point. Okay, today is a turning point because I've accepted for the past 5.5 years, and I would have accepted for the the rest of my life to keep failing. Okay, I would have accepted, I would have accepted whatever would have happened to me for the rest of my life. Okay, I would have said to myself, okay, so I'm gonna spend the rest of my life. Okay, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life trying to figure this out. Okay, and nothing good would ever happen to me. Okay, because I would be spending all my time trying to figure out how to make this trading thing work. But I've committed myself. I said to myself that I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to figure this thing out. Okay. And I said to myself, okay, so the only way for me to return to church is if I am wearing a suit. The only way for me to wear a suit is if I go to Men's Warehouse, buy the best bargain suit. Okay, not the cheapest. Okay, I thought about that. I'm not gonna buy the cheapest. I'm gonna buy the best bargain. Okay, the best bargain. Not the most expensive at a bargain, but I want the bargain. I want the absolute bargain up there. All right, and so I'm going to wear a suit. I'm going to purchase a suit. Okay, it's not gonna be too expensive. It's not gonna be too cheap. Okay, but it's gonna be a perfect. It's going to be an absolute bargain. Okay, and I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna buy it so that it's not too athletic, because I wanna see, what I want to do is I want to wear that suit, and then I want to go. I have myself some buffet. Okay, like, these people in the neighborhood have never seen me before, right? Because I am essentially, the money that I make, because of the limited amount of hours and because of the restrictions of my criminal record. uh, I live far below the poverty line. Okay, I live way below, and I caught myself thinking that way, seeing that way, the reality of the situation, because I'm living below, way below the poverty line. Okay, so I would have accepted that for the rest of my life I would be I don't see the car would have worn down, and I would not be able to afford a car. Uh, then I thought, well, what am I going to do if I don't have a car? What's how am I going to survive if I'm just eking out a living here and every penny that I make, I'm spending? So what am I going to do about it, right? How am I going to live? So I suppose I could. I don't know how that's going to work out, but it's so far it's working out. It's a good thing that things are. It's a good thing that things are starting to click together. Okay. I still have the lint in my pocket. Still doesn't have friends like Grant or Benjamin's, right? But um, but what's here right now and the experience that I have is 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 creating a picture of hope. And so I thought to myself, I felt a little bit guilty. Okay, I felt a little bit guilty. Okay, I felt a bit guilty. Why did I feel a bit guilty? I felt I felt a bit guilty because okay, because God God uh it seems like God has finally listened to my prayer, and that finally something good is starting to happen. Cuz I was like, I said to myself, look, I'm willing to spend the rest of my life trying to figure this thing out. Okay. So, for instance, this Al Brooks tutorial, he has like 4 videos on gaps. Okay, the first 2 are just packed, and I just could not understand it. Then I went on to the third one, and I started to catch what his drift, what he's talking about a gap. But it's been like almost 2 months. I've been watching his video over and over and over and over. It's like watching a martial artist uh, performing the kick, and then I'm trying to follow it, trying to figure it out how that works out, right? That's why it takes time from the white belt to the yellow belt to the what is that, like a what is that, brown belt, to like the black belt and the double black belt and triple black belt and things like that, because it takes time. It takes time, and time flows because I have to essentially grow a muscle in my brain and then grow a muscle in my body in order to perfect that perfect kick. Okay. And so I've been watching this guy, Al Brooks, for almost 2 months now on gaps. And then I was on the third one after viewing it over and over and hundreds of times. And then I get to the third one and go, oh, that's what he was talking about in the beginning. And then it finally started to make sense. And so I thought to myself, uh, receiving this this knowledge, soon money will follow. But I felt a bit guilty. I felt a bit guilty for all these good things that are happening now, right? I'm beginning to see what he's talking about. It's like having to learn, uh, understand how to learn something. I felt that I figured out how to learn anything. I felt that I felt today that I figured out how to learn anything in life, practically anything in life. I felt that I learned how to figure something out in life, right? Mine is just brute force. Okay, it will take a long time, but it's brute force. Brute force works no matter what it is. So even if I go to this acquaintance house and they have the split line cabling system where the resistance is different, okay? And so I'm trying to connect it between a low impedance with a higher impedance, connected together to allow it to communicate from one station to the other, and it'll never work that day. But if I keep at it, try to understand it, take part of it, and figure it out, do some research, brute force it, understand it, keep at it, eventually I'm going to figure that out, right? So that's what I learned about trading as well. Okay. Now, why am I talking like talking like this in a highfalutin kind of a way. I'm talking like this because I'm seeing results, okay? And then now that I'm seeing results based on it's like, so if I were to like put it in a single statement, it's like this, okay? So I know precisely the setup that I'm looking at, and I've used it in the market, and I have a statistical number assigned to that particular setup in the market. So what that, and it's good. What that means is I found consistency, okay? So there are good things that are happening to me right now, okay? There are good things. It's about time. It is about time, but good things are happening to me, and I felt a bit guilty about it, okay? But it's time. Good things need to happen. Good things need to happen to me, right? And I need to be okay with that. I have to accept the fact that there's good things. And I felt, wow, and a lot of good things are about to happen. A lot of good things that I've been dreaming of, thinking about, and looking forward to. And I'm saying to myself, look, when this happens, I'm gonna do this. When that happens, I'm gonna do that. When I get a payout, I'm gonna do this. This is the first thing that I'm gonna do. For instance, what I'm going to do, the first thing I do is when I get a payout from the 50K, which is going to come, but it's a little bit of a ways. I'm still working on the 10K. So the first thing I'm going to do is I already did a like a Costco thing there. My car tire is like almost bald, and so I need to get the car tires first. Okay, okay, and I figured out how much it is. All right, and so I need to come in with that ballpark figure in order to get that tire. So that's the first thing I will do. And then I have to get the brake pads, okay? Brakes, new brakes, okay? Because it's probably worn out too, okay? So I have to get those two things. Then thirdly, then I'll get a suit, okay? The best bargain, the absolute bargain. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the cheap suit. I'm not looking for an expensive suit. I'm looking for the absolute bargain. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the absolute bargain. Okay, so then I felt a little bit guilty about all these things that are happening to me now, and my attitude is showing too. My attitude is showing. I see myself. I can see myself, and I'm like, there is a new me. Okay, there is a new me. The roar, the growl, the attitude has changed. Okay, the attitude in me has changed. It has been. I've crossed over. I cross over to the other side, and my attitude is different. I have a higher sense of. I have a higher sense of the self. I have a higher sense of the self right now. Okay, and I have a higher sense of self, right? And what does that mean? What does it mean? I have a higher sense of self. Okay, so I went to Costco, and I didn't even look at the hours for today, and I walked in. In a lot of cases, what I would do is I would get like miffed and emotionally disturbed because the store is closed, and I felt like I made a mistake, right? But now I said, oh, hey, all right. Well, I just came in at a time when it's so I'll just come back, and I come back later, okay? The two hot dogs I was gonna get, I'm not gonna get, okay? But those hot dogs will be there tomorrow, okay? Just like the market. So I felt a bit guilty for some of these good things that are happening to me now. Okay, there are good things happening to me, whereas before, uh, it was like every day, every minute, everything, it was a failure. Everything was a failure. Everything that I did was a failure. Okay, and I blame myself for being a victim of this situation. Okay, and now things are. I mean, there's gonna be some interesting things that will happen. There will be some interesting things that will happen. I don't have it in my pocket yet. I don't have. I don't have the Benjamins. I don't have the Grants. I don't have the Jeffersons. I don't have the Hamilton. I don't have the Lincoln. I don't have the Washingtons in there. Okay, all right. Preferably Benjamins would be easier because it's lighter to carry, right? But I realized that as long as my mind is still intact, I pray it is. Okay. Um, the carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide inhalation due to sleeping near the highway in my car might cause some sort of debilitation in my thinking. I pray it does not. Okay, but there are some good things happening to me now. Okay, and so today is that day where I become conscious of this fact. Okay, well, actually, there's a lot of things that good things happen, but I just never noticed it. Okay, I never noticed it until today. A lot of good things were happening. Okay, a lot of good things were happening to me, and I didn't realize it. Okay, I didn't realize it until today, because I was so mired in like despair. I was mired in despair. I was for the past 5.5 years. For the past 5.5 years, I was trying to do something that was virtually impossible for me to do. And then every time for the past like 2.5 years, I've been trying to study Al Brooks. I still couldn't understand it. I could not understand him. And then now subconsciously I've absorbed what he was talking about. So I'm using what's called price action. Okay, and then like for the past 1 2 months I've been trying to understand what this thing called gaps is. And then it finally started to click. It's about I'm not a genius, but I was acting like a genius. When I act like a genius, I don't pick up the first time around. But if I act like that I don't understand, then I spend the time, give myself the opportunity to understand what's going on. Then I learn. Okay? That's how you learn anything, right? The person who I am requires a individual and unique amount of time in order to understand how some things are. That's how I learn. It's different to each person, how they're equipped. Okay, the person who goes to Harvard has a higher level of skill set in order in learning, and that's why they're able to get there because they're sharper. They're able to pick up things. Their IQ is higher. My IQ is a state school. Okay, Boise State University. Okay, that's me. Okay, and so I felt a little bit guilty about what's happening to me right now, and I said to myself, I deserve it. I deserve the good things that are happening to me. Okay, I deserve it. It's time. It's about time, and more good things will happen. There were a lot of good things that were happening, but I didn't really appreciate it yet. I didn't realize how that is. I have a job that I could have been fired 1,000 times, literally, as God is my witness, literally 1,000 times, because I have to be very honest. Working in the fast food industry, there's a very, very strong personalities that I have to work with. Even if I'm quiet and not doing anything, there are very, very, very strong personalities. And running into them, I could have lost my job every time that happened. And it happened so many times. Okay? But I survived that, so I'm very, very thankful. I am so thankful. If I was working anywhere else, I would have been gone. I would have been gone, man. I would have been fired. Okay? But I'm very, very grateful. And I have a car. Okay? Despite the fact, see, I take my car to a dealership, and they probably hate me because they poured oil on top of my engine. I complained about it, and they hate that. Okay? They hate that. They run a business, and they don't want somebody who's a customer who's, even if it's right, even if it's true, they don't want somebody saying that, right? So there's been a lot of good things that were happening. Okay, and I didn't even realize it. And the car that they changed the oil in and things like that, it's helping out. It's running well. The car's running well, and I appreciate the car. If I don't have a car, I'm thinking of my ex-wife, and I'm thinking, boy, how did she survive all these years without a car? I'm thinking to myself, that's hard. That's very, very hard. Okay, and so I am very, very thankful. I need to be very, very thankful. I didn't realize this, but I am very, 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 very thankful. I'm thankful. A lot of good things were happening. I didn't realize it. There's a lot of good things that will happen to me because I'm going to create that world for myself. I'm going to create it and I'm going to accept it. It's not, I was like, for the past 5.5 years, I was like, I felt like I was destroying my career as a day trader because I would be self-sabotaging. Okay. Sure, I was self-sabotaging because I didn't know what I was doing. And I was thinking, well, I shouldn't do that. But it's the reality of the situation because two things needs to happen: the psychology and the technicals. Those two things have to be at a level. If the psychology is below a threshold, a level of competency, then I'm gonna say to myself, why am I like self-sabotaging? You're self-sabotaging because you're not ready. The mind and the technical level isn't there. So I thought to myself, so now I understand because it happens. I've accepted the fact that these things do happen, okay? And so now good things are happening and good things will happen. Uh there was a governor, okay? There's a governor named Dirk Kempthorne, okay, in the state of Idaho. Now he passed away at age 74 years old. Okay, that's less than 20 years from where I am now. Okay, and his birthday is like very close to his birthday. His birthday is so. I sent a text message to my buddy. I told him, look, college buddy. I told him, look, this governor passed away, and the people who are passing away, their birthdays are getting closer and closer to my birthday, right? So for the next, I don't know, maybe 20 years, the next 20 years, I'm going to have to accept the fact that good things will happen, have been happening, and I have to accept it. Okay. I have to accept the fact that good things will happen and, and I shouldn't be feeling guilty about these good things that are happening to me. Right. And so, um, if 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 this coming week, looks anything like what's been happening for the past 3 to 4 weeks, it's gonna be great. Okay. Even if I make a mistake, I realize what the mistake is. I understand it. Okay. It's just a matter of. I heard from this professional trader who talked about this. They talk about this. They say that the window the window of success, okay, initially is very small. Okay, but within that window, you can make a huge bet and make money on it. Okay, that's how that's how initially people who are novices make huge sums of money because within a short period of time and when they risk it all, they can make a lot of money. But within a larger and larger and bigger window, uh, it requires a bigger it requires a higher level of mental competency and technical capability in order to expand it out. And as a professional who is a trader knows that a mistake is going to occur at any moment. But the idea is to expand it before the mistake occurs and make the mistake as shallow as possible in the drawdown as that's the reality of trading. Okay, I saw this guy many years ago. He was on, apparently there was like Trader for a Cause, and he was speaking, and apparently he's a really good trader. And so he was making a novice mistake, okay? Because he may have habituated himself into making that mistake by taking series of trades where most of the cases it works, okay? Which is called martingaling. So because his technical skills were high, so that he's able to absorb most of the drawdowns by playing a little bit of trading game with the market. And what that does is the market programs the person, and when a very big move comes in a trending way, uh, adding and adding is going to cause the account to be depleted before it reverses. And so he was speaking. He was in Trader for a Cause, and he was talking about that. And he lost a lot of money because he even though he was a seasoned trader, he made a novice mistake. It happens. So a guy like that makes a mistake, okay? And and I, of course, just figuring things out, obviously, I'm going to make a lot more mistakes than he is, right? And so the idea is to expand, 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 all the while making the gains bigger and bigger and bigger, wider. Okay, it's bigger, 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 wider, wider, wider. Okay, that's the idea. And so, but I felt a little bit. I felt a little bit. I suppose I was like, I shouldn't be getting comfortable with a sinking ship, okay? But I felt like I was being comfortable. It felt so homely. It's like sitting inside a Titanic and the Titanic is sinking, but it's big enough that it's sinking slow, okay? And so me working 12 hours a week, okay, and barely being able to pay for a few things and maintain my car, put some gas in the gas tank. Uh, I haven't run into a serious financial crisis yet. And that's why I was falling and being lulled into comfort. But the reality is this. Okay, uh, the reality is, I was a little bit guilty. I felt a little bit guilty about like the good things that are happening to me. Okay, okay, all right. I finally figured out how to trade. Okay. I finally figured out how to trade. And now I've seen it because I've traded in demo. And now I have a 10K account. I'm working on it and it's looking good. Okay. So we'll see how long this lasts. But it's we'll see how long this lasts. But whatever happens, I know how to trade. And that's why I keep saying to myself, as long as I have my mindset right and I have my setups in focus, those are the two things. Those are the two main things. Okay? If I have those two things constantly, then I know I'm gonna make money. So there are good things that are happening to me. Okay? There are good things happening. Okay? There are good things that are happening to me, and I felt a bit guilty about that. Okay? I felt it. I felt I felt a bit guilty today for these good things that are happening to me. And I'm gonna look back, but I'm not gonna go back. I'm gonna look back, but I'm not gonna go back. I'm gonna go forward. I heard from this marriage counselor. Okay, I heard this YouTube. I can learn so many things on YouTube. Okay, I can learn so many things from YouTube. And this marriage counselor, he says this. Uh, it's the same way. It's like trading. It's very very similar to trading. Okay, don't so trading. I cannot expect the market to change for me. I have to change myself for the market. I have to change in order to accept the market because I have to speak the language of the market. If I don't speak the language of the market, I cannot become successful as a trader. I That's why certain periods I'm successful and certain periods I'm not because the market aligns with myself. But if I am in alignment with the market, then whatever the market does, I'm going to be successful. Just like just like just like this guy who's a marriage counselor, he says this. Okay, you can't expect her to change for you. You have to change for her. Okay, you have to respect her. You have to accept her. Okay, that's the only way. Okay, you have to change. That means that you have to change. You have to change. Okay, you cannot change. It's like being a bubble boy all your life. But she's outside and she understands it. But she's saying this to you, but you don't understand that you're in a bubble. You have to burst out of that bubble in order for you to. That means, on a simplistic perspective, I have to change. I have to change so much that she looks at me and says, "Hey, look, that person is completely different than the previous person." First of all, the person is able to understand. And one of the things that I've noticed is that people get very emotional. Okay, but women speak emotion, and so when they get, it's like living in a muffled world inside, trying to communicate with this woman who's who knows what's going on, and living in a world who's able to communicate. But the person who's trapped in this bubble of hearing the echoes by himself, he cannot hear her. So you have to grow and burst out, and that's exactly like what the market is. I had to grow and match up with the market. Once I grow and match up with the market, when I identify certain features of the market characteristics, then I align myself, because when that happens, then the market is saying, I'm going to do this. When the market says, I'm going to do this, most cases, the market will do what it says it's going to do, because I'm able to recognize what the market is saying to me. Okay, so this Brett Steenbacher was on Etienne Crete's show, I think about a week ago, and he made this comment. He says trading and psychology is very similar. Okay, that's what he said, because he sits there and listens, and then decides what the right remedy is. Trading is the same way. You have to listen to see what the market is saying, so that I can figure out what the market wants to do. Then I take it. Okay? That's what he said. And I thought, well, that's so simple. Okay? Anybody can do that, but I didn't understand it. 5 years ago, okay, I was a principal test engineer for a company, and I literally brought the company to its knees. Okay? Me, a lowly, dumbest guy on earth. Okay, I said, here, I have to mention this, okay? I am literally the dumbest guy on earth, okay? I am literally the dumbest guy on earth. But I'm tenacious, okay? When I set my mind on something, I do it. I do it, however long it takes. Okay, that's what I do. Because I have to solve it. Even though my brain is not smart, but when I have to figure something out, I have to figure it out. My ex-wife, okay, so that's the second one. Okay, so my ex-wife divorced me in 2002. I wanted to figure it out. Why? Okay, why? Why did that happen? So for the past 24 years, I tried to figure it out. Then recently I started to understand. Okay? I figured it out. So here's how I brought the whole company to its knees, okay? By somebody whose IQ is very low, okay? So what happened was, so at a company, what they do is they have this design team, okay? Design. And when they design something, they have to make sure that they design it so that it works before it works. Okay, they have to design it in such a way that it works before it works. Okay, that's the idea of designing. It costs a lot of money if it doesn't work. Ask Intel. Okay, so Intel had this their math. Apparently, one of their math functions didn't work, and so it cost them a lot of money. Okay. So what the company was doing is that they didn't have the right protocol company wide. They didn't have the right protocol for the company wide, and so they used code. They used code that was not up to the standard. Okay, that was not up to the standard. So what that meant was the people who were working on it, they didn't know what the standard was, because the company wide didn't have this umbrella of rule that they had to establish in order for these people who are designing very, very important things. And so what this one guy did, who's a designer, did was they design first, and then they have to test it, simulate it. So when they were simulating it, they didn't simulate it right because their protocol is not right. And so across the board, so this guy made a mistake. But a test engineer, the dumbest guy on earth, okay, look through the code, okay? Look through the code. 65,000 lines of assembly code, okay? and found the mistake. Okay. So that caused an uproar. Okay. That caused an uproar. All right. It brought down the whole company. Okay. Because they're making a mistake. Okay. But a dumb test engineer figured that out. Okay. Because he was tenacious. Okay. He had to figure it out. He will not stop until he figured it out. Okay. That's how important it is. Right. So that's, where was I getting with this? Okay. But so so now good things are happening. Good things are happening. Okay. See, I would have spent the rest of my life trying to figure this out. Okay. I would have spent the rest of my life. Okay. So this Al Brooks trading course that he's got here. Okay. I saw this YouTube video of this guy who goes to a buffet. Okay. And what he does is he calculates whether he's winning or losing. So what he does is he grabs things and he calculates by each item how much he's getting out of that each item, and so he adds to it. Most of the time, he's profitable. Okay, but when he goes, and most of the time it is profitable because he's probably more of a eater than somebody else who's not. Okay, if there's a very skinny old man who's don't eat very much goes to a buffet, he's gonna lose. He's a losing situation. Okay, but if you have a young construction worker, okay, who hasn't eaten for a week, okay, and did chugged like gallons of water in preparation to expand his stomach, then the restaurant is gonna lose money. Okay, so he calculates, and most of the time he's ahead. Okay, so I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay, so so how do I get back to what I'm trying to say? Okay, so so what am I going, at? What am I going at? Okay, so I was talking about whether. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit. Okay, so I was just talking about. Okay, so how do I know if something is a oh yeah, Al Brooks course. Okay, Al Brooks. Okay, Al Brooks course. And so Al Brooks, I'm not senile yet. I'm getting there, but I'm not senile yet. Okay, so I bought this course, and many people, probably not everybody, are not getting their money's worth. You're gonna get your money's worth if you pay this course and then you benefit from it and then you start consistently making money. Then it becomes an incredible bargain. Okay, but until that happens, it's not. It's something that people observe because, and if you don't get anything out of it, it's not going to be worth anything, right? It's so if you're in the desert and you have 500 pounds of gold, okay, it's not going to be worth anything until you get to society where you can exchange it so that you can get some water and food and things like that, right? So now I see. That's because I was willing. I was literally willing to spend the rest of my life trying to figure this thing out. This thing called uh, uh, trading. Okay. Then now things are starting to click. How do I know? Because when the market does this, I conclude it does that. When the market does something else, then I conclude it is. That's the critical part. Because if I just go long all day, okay, the market will align. Okay, it will go along sometimes, and it will go down sometimes. When it goes down and when I'm long, that's a big problem. Okay, and that's where the mindset comes in. And when I'm wrong and the mind triggers, and it causes a psychological catastrophic event to occur, and then it implodes. Okay, that's where accounts are blown, all the money is lost, and steaming, and the face is all red, and like adrenaline pumping and all that stuff, right? So I felt like, wow, I felt today like I felt a bit guilty, okay, because I'm finally, see, it's like I was like so devastated. My kids left without telling me where they are. My ex-wife doesn't even talk to me. I mean, I have a 10-year probationary period where I have a felony record where I can't get a job for anything. Um, the new guy who works there as a dishwasher, has two jobs. Okay, and and one of them is washing dishes, and then he goes somewhere else and does something else, and he apparently works as a janitor. Okay, because he's cleaning. And I joke with him. I joke with him. I said, I joke with him, but he might take it the wrong way because of my criminal, I can't even get a job as a janitor. Okay, it's a privilege for me to be working as a janitor, but he doesn't know that. But he might think that I'm making fun of him because I said this comical statement. I said to him, "Look, what do you think will happen if the Prince of England comes to America?" Okay, right? What do you think is going to happen? And I tell him this: he has to get a job as a janitor. Okay, because in America we don't care about that kind of stuff. But he works as a janitor, so he might be taking it the wrong way. But I can't even get a job as a janitor. Okay, I can't because they do background checks and I can't get a job. I just simply cannot get a job, and that's why I'm so thankful. There's a lot of good things that are happening to me, were happening to me, just like this. I bought this course. I don't know how it happened, but I bought this course. Even though it's so difficult, I started to understand. I spent about 2 months on this gap thing. What is he talking about? He's like talking about this and this and this and that and that and that, and statistically, something like this. And then when there's a big candle, when the candle is this, and I'm thinking, what is he talking about? And then today, oh, oh, after 2 months. So 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. So that's about 90 minutes of videos I've been studying for like 2 months. Okay, I went through this over, but now I'm like really actively trying to like hold on to it, trying to understand it. Okay, but it took me about 2 months to understand what he's talking about gaps. Okay, so I felt a bit guilty because good things are happening now, and I felt a little more guilty because I felt that more good things will happen. There's going to be a lot of good things that will happen now. Okay, a lot of good things. Okay, there will be. So it's like there will be a lot of good things happening. Okay, uh, I was living in the shadows. I was living in the shadows for the past 5.5 years, and from heaven, good things would trickle in, and I didn't know it. It was like, it felt like, if it's like, it's like being in a traumatic situation and somebody whispers something. That whisper doesn't, you can't hear it because it's a traumatic situation. It's like being in a world war where like exchange of like ordinances are done, and left and right, front and right, you got like people falling, and then it's like D-Day, okay, on the beach, and you got chaos going over, and somebody next to you is saying, "Hey, this is how you trade." Okay. Right? Now I'm like finally starting to see these are all words, okay? Because I don't have substance to it. I don't have substance to it. Okay? So what I plan to do is make some videos about like this. It's going to be called the C series. C, S-E-E. It's the C series, okay? It's going to be the C series. Coincidentally, C represents Benjamins, right? C's. C, I think that's what it is. A C note is a I don't know why, but it's called the C note. Why is C note called a $100 bill? Why is a C note a $100 bill? Why did they do that? Okay, a C note is slang for a $100 bill because C is the Roman numeral of 100. Ah, okay. Well, that obviously makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna make a series of these. Okay, I'm gonna make these series. It's just purely for my own entertainment. Okay, and I post it there. And then one day when my kids come around and they want to see what I was doing, maybe they can review the videos. Okay, most of them does. They probably don't even have time to see those. Okay, they're just so busy. They're probably enjoying life so much that they probably don't have time to view it. There's like over 2,000 videos. I made over 2,000 videos. Okay. So, I felt a bit of guilt today because there are good things were happening, good people around me, but I was so focused on the evil. I was so focused on the bad things that had occurred to me. For the past 5.5 years, so many bad things were happening to me, and I totally focused on it, and not even appreciated. Even though I said I was appreciative, but I wasn't conscious of my appreciation of what was happening around me. I'm so fortunate that I'm healthy. Okay, I'm healthy. I'm so fortunate. I have a job. I'm so fortunate. I have a car that runs well. It looks good. Okay, and I have shoes. Sure, it's dirty, but it's shoes. Okay, I was able to buy this from Costco using my tax return. Okay, all right. I'm fortunate, and this thing I bought like 6 years ago is still good. Okay, it's from Bose. They don't pay me anything. Okay, I'm just I'm not endorsing anything. I'm not endorsing Costco or Winco or Bose or whatever it is, or HP or whatever it is. I'm not endorsing them, but it's good. I just say it. It's good. Okay. So I'm fortunate. I have a computer. I bought this computer. I was using a computer that was 10 years old. It only had one core. Even though it's fast, it's like several gigs. It was fast. The memory, the RAM was like 32 gig. Okay. And the hard drive was like 2 terabytes. Okay. But it's like slow 2 terabytes, right? And so I was using that for the past 5.5 years. I was able to get this. Okay, even though it is far better, it's still very, very cheap because in 10 years, all that technology has reduced in cost. Okay? So all these things were happening to me. All these good things. I have people who are genuinely very, very good to me. There are people who are genuinely good to me, but I was totally focused on the negative side of my life. I was like so focused. I was like so angry. I was so upset. I was so upset for the past 5.5 years. How did these people do this to me? How? And they took everything. They ruined my life. They separated this, and I was so focused on it. And then I went to this priest, and the priest said, "Hey, just focus on the positive." I didn't know what he was talking about. Okay, I didn't know. See, it's like this. It's D-Day, and I'm on the beaches, and you have machine gun fire, you have grenades, you have rockets, you have tanks shooting at me, right? All around, and you have like blood and guts everywhere, and you got sharks eating everything, and you got barbed wires, you got like bullets whizzing by, and you got like people sinking underneath the ocean and things like that, and chaos occurring for hours and hours and hours, and they say march. And then next to you it's like for the past 5.5 years, that's what it felt like. It felt like I was marching through hell. It felt like that. And whatever nice thing somebody said, sure, it was nice, but I just never realized it. But I am so fortunate. I am so fortunate. It's truly that I aligned myself with God, that I am receiving all this good things that happened to me for the past 5.5 years. But I was so focused on the negative things that occurred to me. Okay? I was so focused on the negative things that occurred to me, it preoccupied my mind. Okay? It ate away at me. okay, for the past 5.5 years. But there were good things that were happening around me. More good things would have happened if I didn't have so much anger within me, okay? That emotion and anger that occurred to me, okay? Because what happened to me, right? But now I see it. But now that I see it, I felt a little bit guilty. I felt a little bit guilty for feeling the good things that happened to me and what will happen to me. Okay, that's what I felt. That's what I felt. Okay, but there's a lot of good things that will happen. Okay, and I have to get used to it. This is something different. I had to get used to hell in order for me to survive. Now I have to get used to heaven because that's gonna happen too. And I and this guy who passed away at 74, that's only less than 20 years from now. Okay, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I better make sure that I fully appreciate what will happen to me for the next 20 years, if God is so kind, right? But in the meantime, right now, I felt a bit guilty today. I felt a bit guilty today.